Hello everybody, I wanted to do a little Q&A because recently I've been getting a few more subscribers than I'm used to, just so that you can kind of like meet me and stuff, because you haven't been following me for how long have I been doing this? A while. By the way, if for some reason you missed the Q&A, you should follow me on maybe Instagram or Twitter, because that's the usual places where I will be posting about what I'm gonna do in my videos. So if you don't want to miss out on the next Q&A, my Instagram and my Twitter will be down in the description. Little self-promo there. What do you do for a living? Just YouTube? I work full-time as a graphic designer in Zurich. I don't think I would be able to afford anything with the money that I make off of YouTube. 200 to 300 bucks a year. That's not gonna get me anywhere. Was machst du lieber, editen oder filmen? I'd say it depends on the video that I'm gonna make. When I'm traveling, I like to film a lot more than I like to edit. I don't even want to think about editing. All I'm doing is I'm filming whatever I want to film, putting the camera away, and then enjoying the moment. Whereas in Switzerland, it's the other way around. I prefer editing just because I know that the video footage of me that I will be editing isn't quite as interesting to film. I mean, this is just me sat in my apartment talking to a camera. It's not quite as like thrilling to film. Das ist ein Traumberuf. I don't think I have a set job per se that I could say. I'd like for it to be something creative, something to do with languages, and maybe something to do with travel. Anything within the creative bubble. How many countries did you travel? I made a list because I forget. Been to Switzerland, England, Spain, Italy, Japan, Korea, Germany, and Austria. What was your favorite city or country? I'd say my favorite city or country would have to be a tie between England and Korea. Was ist dein Lieblingsvideo, wo du je gemacht hast und wieso? I had to actually look up my videos just to make sure that I wasn't gonna tell you complete bullshit. I've got 3 videos that I really enjoy. One is snippets of Korea, useless languages, and the foods of Korea. What do you like most about Shawn Mendes? I see. I like his voice. I like his voice a lot. I mean, his face is good too, but I'd say his voice. Which of the Harry Potter characters is unbearable? In brackets, you can't stand them. Fucking hate Dolores Umbridge. And in that same category of blah is Snape. Try to fight me. Try to fight me. He was a terrible teacher. He was an awful human being. But his redemption, no. He bullied a child. That child's biggest fear being a teacher. A teacher. And his parents were tortured to the point that they had to go to a mental hospital and never able to recover. His biggest fear wasn't the person who tortured them. Instead, it was his teacher. I'd say Snape is a piece of shit. Albus Severus in Harry Potter's an idiot. Welche top 3 tips würdest du einem edit/film newbie geben? Try to work with brightness. Try brightening up a little bit. If it's too much, obviously you can tone it down again. Oftentimes, just a little bit of brightness can make your video look a lot more high quality. You can actually work with sound quite a bit. If you notice in my snippets of Korea video, I oftentimes left the background noise of the video in the video, not because I was too lazy to mute every single clip. In scenes with rain in the background, I added a little bit of rain noise just to make the rain feel more intense. When you're doing a video with other people, for example, you're questioning each other, you're doing a mini interview, make sure that the other person knows that they are not to talk over you. Favorite Japanese dish? Let me get my list. My favorite Japanese food would have to be gyudon, which is a bowl of rice with beef on top, and the beef was marinated in like a kind of sweet, kind of smoky sauce, which is kind of odd to say as a vegetarian. I also really like anpan. Anpan are so good. Anpan are kind of like soft bread buns with a filling, and the filling, oh, so good. My favorite is red bean, but there have also been chestnut. I've tried matcha. I've also tried sweet potato. Favorite Korean dish? Bibimbap, dakgalbi, but especially the tteokbokki within the dakgalbi. I always find myself just kind of picking out the tteokbokki. Dubuchige. Dubuchige is so nice in the winter. I think my favorite Korean dessert would have to be gerangbang. It's a bread-shaped sweet bread muffin type thing, but they just slap an egg on top. The egg is left savory, so it's a really nice sweet and savory kind of mixture, and it's so nice. Another thing I really love is hot dog, which isn't hot dog. Similar to a pancake. Every street food vendor in Korea does it differently. There is one in Hongdae, which, oh my god, the best. The crust is super, super, super thin and it's crispy. It's just lovely. Cinnamon and sugar and some sesame. Another thing that I really love is bungeoppang. They have a similar thing in Japan. To me, it's a Korean thing. It's a fish bread, which is essentially, again, really thin pancake batter. And inside it's just filled with red bean and it's so lovely. What's your favorite BT21 character? And why do you like BTS? My favorite character from BT21 would have to be Tata. And my favorite from BTS is Taehyung. Wow, it's not like he created it or something. They're very entertaining to watch in interviews. I love their music videos and the music itself. Where would you like to travel? Places you've never been? Every year since 2017, I've told myself I want to go to Jeju. I've not been to Jeju. I want to go to Jeju. I also want to see Busan. I also want to see Paris. I want to go to Vietnam. I also really want to go to Ireland for some reason. Ireland and Scotland. I think the main reason why I want to go to Ireland and Scotland is because I really like the accents. Ever since I was small, I've kind of always really wanted to just kind of like drive into the countryside of Japan or Korea. Well, when I was small, it was Japan, but recently it's become Korea because I feel like I wouldn't be as lost with the language in Korea. Which fictional character would you like to meet in real life? I would like to meet Rubeus Hagrid. Sit down with him, drink a cup of tea, and talk about stuff. Mainly magical creatures. That would be so good. Any goals for 2019? Probably, but I will be making a video about that soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Why do you look like the male version of Harry Potter? I feel like I don't. I mean, I've met Daniel Radcliffe and I feel like I didn't really exactly look like him, but I'm gonna take it as a compliment, so thank you. Do you have any tips for memorizing Korean vocab? I'm really struggling. Don't try to like just cram it in. Really enjoyed listening to podcasts whilst trying to look at the vocab. So Talk to Me in Korean is the best place for you to do that. Hearing the words being spoken and then seeing it written on paper and also writing it out yourself can really, really help. When did you move out and how did you handle it? I moved out in apparently November 2014. That's kind of just when I moved out into my own apartment. Before that, I lived at my mom's friend's house for a year. I have nowhere else to go. I might as well live with my mom's friend. Officially, I moved out into this here place in November 2014. I actually had to look it up in my old videos, like at what point did I start living in this here apartment? The sunshine's gonna eat me. How did I handle it? I was really stressed and I didn't have furniture for quite a while. If you go back to like my old videos when I first moved into this apartment, you can see that my apartment is very empty. Dog versus cat. I'm more of a cat person. I love dogs. I adore dogs. I would prefer to own 10 cats over 10 dogs. 10 dogs just sounds like way too much work. Japanese barbecue or Korean barbecue? I'm not sure if I've ever actually had Japanese barbecue, so I'll go for the Korean barbecue. Will you ever stop posting Korea related things? All right, Anna, calm down. I will stop posting Korea content on my Instagram when I've run out. And by then I'll probably have like made more or gone to Korea again. What do you like about Kyungsu? He has a good voice, he has good eyebrows, he has a good face. Oh yeah, fun fact, I like Kyungsu from EXO. What's your favorite Digimon? My favorite Digimon would be Gatomon. I've also been seeing it called Tailmon. Not sure, but yeah, Gatomon, Tailmon. It turns into a really wonderful, beautiful angel. But I think the main reason why I like that one the most is because it's a cat. What were your best and worst subjects in school? My worst subject was maths. Fuck maths, still hate maths. And my best subject was German. Subject or adjective or sub-adjective, like fuck that kind of bullshit. But like just writing essays. I actually kind of really liked writing essays. I kind of miss it sometimes. All-time favorite movies. My favorite movies would probably have to be Ghibli movies or Ghibli. Forever pronouncing it differently. With those movies, I'm just always just content to watch them whenever. If I don't know what movie I want to watch, I can just put on Howl's Moving Castle and I'm super happy about it. Or I can just watch Kiki's Delivery Service over and over again. Princess Mononoke, such a good movie. Current favorite K-pop songs. 24/7 by EXO. Tokyo from Rap Monster from BTS. No, I'm not gonna call him RM, Rap Monster. BTS became apparent to me when RM was still Rap Monster, so I'm gonna continuously call him Rap Monster or Namjoon, but we're not on such a personal level that I'm like, oh yeah, you know, Namjoon, he's Rap Monster. Hanhae by N Flying. Seoul by BTS. Pet by 10 centimeter. 10 centimeter I feel like is super underrated. 사랑이 잘 by IU. The English title is can't love you anymore. But then 사랑이 잘, wouldn't that mean good love? What was your favorite food as a kid? My mom's älplermakarona, but it wasn't like the älplermakarona you can just get in a restaurant. As a kid, and still to this day, I dislike potatoes. Älplermakarona is a dish made with pasta, cheese, potatoes. They put roast onion on top, and then you mix all of that, and you add applesauce on top. It sounds kind of strange, but it's really, really lovely. A lot of people will compare it to mac and cheese, but when I think of mac and cheese, I think of the American version of mac and cheese. The American version kind of grosses me out. The idea of it, it's just cheese sauce, which you blah, 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 on top of pasta until it's like swimming in it. No, that's not how you do mac and cheese in Switzerland. Over the last couple of years, I've become lactose intolerant, so I'm kind of like, well, can't even eat my favorite childhood food anymore. And there's this one Swiss spice that my mom adds to it instead of salt. So good. Aromat. It makes it Swiss. Favorite color. There's two set favorite colors, and then there's one that kind of varies. The two set ones are black and white. One that varies. One's blue, then it was red, then it was green, but currently it's red again. Any tips on learning Korean? Keep at it. I tried learning Japanese when I was like 14, but I gave up after 2 weeks. Yeah, don't do that. Keep at it. If I had actually stuck learning Japanese, by now I could be a lot more fluent. Watch a lot of Korean dramas or TV shows. Listen to the music, because when you then come across a word that you've heard a lot, either on TV shows or music, you'll be able to recognize it, and that's really like satisfying. I was learning to read the Korean alphabet, and the first time that I read the word 예쁘다, I was like, wait, that's a song from 17. 예쁘다, 예쁘다. I was like, oh, I remember that. Hi Janice, since you speak so many languages, what are your best tips to learn them? The thing is, Korean is the first language that I'm effectively like trying to learn. Spanish, I was like, well, I might as well, I'm in Spain. English, I had to learn because I was going to an English speaking school. So Korean is like the first language that I've actively pursued learning. I think it's quite odd, quite hard. Tips for learning it, just keep at it. Even if you like start to hate it, take a break from it and then kind of rediscover through whatever it was that made you want to learn it in the first place, and give yourself motivation through that again. If you could be studying any course anywhere, what would it be? I think I'd like to study something with graphic design, maybe a little bit more into photography or the visual arts side of it. Maybe something to do with motion picture. That could be, you know, like animation or something like that. I think that would be interesting. I don't think I'd really care as to where. Do you think you have an accent? I do think I have an accent, and I think it changes quite often. I wouldn't be able to pinpoint my accent because sometimes I sound more American and sometimes I sound more British. How many languages do you want to learn fluently in total? I don't have a set number, but any number of languages would be more than welcome. If I could gain fluency in Korean, that would be sweet. Chinese would be interesting. Japanese would be interesting. Italian sounds fun. Be able to actually say, yes, I fluently speak Spanish, that would be quite cool. I've always really had a fascination with like Shakespearean. It's not a language in itself, but it's like a weird form of English, and I really like it. I still have Romeo and Juliet, the balcony scene, memorized. Those are all the questions that I have time for to answer today. If your question didn't get answered, I'm sorry about that. Maybe in the next Q&A we'll have more luck. When will be the next Q&A? That's a good question. I feel like I haven't done a Q&A in super duper long. So this is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can stick around till when I make a new one. I hope you drink lots of water, get lots of sleep, and this is the end. Bye!